What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Koppai Podcast, the Nintendo Show, episode 63. I am one of your hosts, Caston Risk, joined alongside from far away across the farmlands, jump over Iowa, there he is, Mr. Koppai himself, Zach Risk.
Howdy, y'all.
Yeah, you're sitting in your little your barnyard. With your little microphone, your little radio, your little AM radio, tuning into Koppai.
Yep, that's right.
All right. Well, in case you're new here, we are an all Nintendo podcast that post each and every week here on youtube.com/Koppai Gaming, as well as soundcloud.com/Koppai Podcast, and iTunes and all other podcast services as Koppai Podcast, a Nintendo show. Each week we discuss the games we're playing, the news of the Nintendo pipeline, and then a topic of the show. Sometimes not even in that order. Sometimes it's topic of the show, then what we're playing, then the Nintendo pipeline, and any other possible combination. It's literally endless variations. So you never know what you're going to get with Koppai Podcast. Today we're going to be discussing our initial reactions to Splatoon 2 and the ice cream versus cake Splatfest, as well as our initial impressions of Hey Pikmin, Miitopia, and Max Brass in Arms, and then tons of other news. But be sure to tune in next week, because I think what we're going to do next week is take a deep dive into what the critics are saying about these new titles, because this is kind of Nintendo's big summer bash. Where they're having Miitopia, Splatoon 2, Hey Pikmin. They have all of their final Smash Bros. Amiibos coming out. I think the Zelda Amiibo are coming out or something like that. There's the new Pikmin Amiibo. It's just it's a huge final hurrah for summer for Nintendo until we kind of kick off into the fall. And so I thought next week we'll see what the critics say, kind of do a review roundup for those three games, and then also look back at everything Nintendo's done in the first half of 2017, and maybe do like a kind of game of the year watch. See how Nintendo's doing. I mean, obviously, there's Zelda in there. It's like, oh, that's a game of the year. But kind of see how they're faring against maybe some of the other games out there, like Horizon and Persona 5, if we have the time next week. Maybe there's going to be tons of news this week. But with the games coming out this week, I think that'll be a pretty good show. So be sure to tune into that. If you like this episode or next week's episode or last week's episode, be sure to leave us a review and click that subscribe button on YouTube, along with the bell to be notified of when we post new videos. If you're listening to the audio version, maybe hop on over to YouTube and click the subscribe button just to show your support there. And if you're listening to the YouTube version, hop over to iTunes and leave us a 5-star review, because we are worth 5 stars. Zach!
Yeah.
How you feeling? What you playing?
I'm doing good, feeling great. Started this summer job, so finally got paid and have Splatoon 2 all paid off, so that's a good feeling.
Got Splat Cash?
Yeah, got Splat Cash.
That's what they call it. That's what the kids
so
are
that
saying.
I wish I could preload it. I'm all ready to go. I'm so hyped for Splatoon 2. The Splatfest was awesome.
Yes.
So like I said, I started a summer job, and so I've been kind of working every day, busy with that, but in the meantime, like in the evenings, I've been kind of unwinding with trying to get in there and wrap up Mario Kart 8's final. I have a few cups left in that mirror mode, and it's been giving me grief. The one that I've been trying repeatedly for a few nights now. Usually just giving it a couple attempts, and if I don't get it, I'm just like, all right, I got my Mario Kart fix in, and I attempted it. But it's the one, I forget what cup it is, but it's the one with Wario's Gold Mine it starts off with, and then it's Rainbow Road right after that. And sometimes I get screwed up in Rainbow Road, or sometimes I get screwed up in, I think the next one is like, it's one of the first DLC ones, I believe.
Yeah,
and so it's that, I forget, it's some icy kind of ribbony road, but that one kind of screws me up sometimes.
Like Toad's Turnpike or something? Not Turnpike, but it's like his like ice post or something. I'm not too sure.
I think that's what it is. It's something like that. And that one sometimes really messes with me, like consistently. You
can't do like really long drifts on that one because the roads are so split up. They're like on different levels, and so if you try to do a drift into the other lane, you get. Sometimes you can like kind of hop on over and keep your drift going. Other times you get bump into a wall, and it's all sorts of inconsistent. And yeah, that's one of my least favorite. Tracks.
Besides the Splatfest, I did play about 2 hours of that yesterday, And
Okay.
so, yeah, I've just been mostly playing the Mario Kart. I did hop into Minecraft a little bit and
Oh yeah.
thinking about like I played the demo of Hey Pikmin, which we'll talk later and stuff about that.
Yeah.
I wanted to go in there and like tried the Miitomo stuff and or the Miitopia, excuse me.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I've been kind of trying to get some of those things done when I have a chance. Also, still plugging away at the Mario versus Donkey Kong 3DS. What is
Yeah.
it called? Minions on the Move or something like that.
Yeah. Minis.
Yeah, the little
Mini
Mario minis.
Marios or
That game
something.
is
I
hard.
need to
That
play.
is really
I need to
difficult.
play that game because that has like full amiibo support, right? Where if you have like
I don't
an
believe that
amiibo, you
has.
get bonus levels or
I
something.
think that might be because they did release
Tipping
another.
stars.
Yeah, they released
Tipping
another
stars.
one
Yeah.
that was that whole cross-play deal with the Wii U and everything.
Yeah. I need to get that.
Which,
That sounds fun.
yeah, well, the games I need to play to the original Game Boy one, but I just think the whole series is like just a genius puzzle. Like,
Why is it not on the phones? That'd be a perfect phone game.
yeah, it would definitely.
Just
Yeah.
dragging your thumb like one, because that's what Nintendo's big thing is. You should be able to play every game with one hand, and you can just be dragging like where the minis are moving with your thumb and all of that, and lay them out and do
Yeah.
all sorts of stuff. It's perfect, and like even like the kind of verticality of it, where you can just be holding it vertical, and they have to like get to the top of the screen or bottom of the screen or whatever the case may be,
Mhm.
and that'd be a perfect mobile game. But
So
no,
what have you been playing?
I've been playing some of that Splatoon 2. I did, I think, maybe just 1 hour of the Splatfest. And then, if you hop over to our Twitter account, you can see I spent like the next half hour working on this beautiful work of art because they have like, they kind of brought back the Miiverse posting thing. So you can head over to Twitter and see I made this little inkling with a gun. And it says, I think it says like Team Ice Cream or something. And it's one of my greatest creations on Miiverse. So you'll have to go check that out. So I think I did like about an hour and a half in that. And, you know, I kind of got my fix in. Like, okay, I can wait a week to keep playing. I represented Team Ice Cream well.
Yeah.
And then I was kind of just like, I want my coins. I want my credit. I want my ranks. And none of this carries forward. So I'm really bad about that. Like if I don't get trophies or achievements or my time recorded or something, it's just like I want something to show what I kind of did with my time. And so I only played an hour just to get my fix in, and was
But did
awesome.
did you play both rotations of the maps? Because there was a
Yeah, I don't
Because-
think I think I started, maybe did one round in the next rotation, and my wife actually played. She has been really excited for Splatoon 2. She calls it Splattoon, which is completely wrong, or I don't even know how she says it. Like Splat. How do you say it? Are you here? Oh, she won't say. She won't talk. But yeah, she says Splatoon or something, like not Splatoon. Just
yeah,
But anyway, she played for like the second half of it, and she was actually getting really good, getting about like 700 points a round or something, which is really good. Getting top ranks and all that. She had to turn off motion controls, which is weird because she actually uses motion controls when she does Mario Kart. But she turned off motion controls and then was having a blast with it. And I saw her on the other maps, because I think she was on the other maps exclusively, like for the back half of the Splatfest. And they looked pretty cool. I think one of them was like Moray Tower or something, which is from Splatoon 1.
It was. I really loved the night themes and that. That was just like.
Oh yeah.
And just the way it seemed. I'm not too familiar with how Splatfest went on in Splatoon 1, but it just really seems they went all out and really decking out and customizing kind of the whole, just everything about it, like to make it a really themed feeling thing and a special event. And it's really cool to see if carrying forward, they just always do a really spectacular thing like that.
Yeah, I think that is pretty much what it's like. I know it's usually, especially streamers, which I'm going to talk about it in just a second here, you know, live streaming and Let's Plays, but it always seems to be quite a bit of an event in the Nintendo community. So, but no, it was awesome. Loved it. We'll talk about the game, you know, if we have time at the end, just our initial impressions of the game overall, but we also do have next week to have even more hands-on impressions. But yeah, I did also check out Miitopia and Hey Pikmin. Was very impressed with Hey Pikmin, like shockingly impressed with how awesome that game was. Miitopia even, besides how completely clunky the Miis look, like so dated, especially after seeing them like in Miitomo where they look really clean and polished. Besides that fact, the rest of the game had an awesome art style, and the actual gameplay of it was a really cool idea. Another thing I want to say is I've been digging into some Marvel comics, and have been organizing a little digital catalog of that. And so I was actually trying to think. I know there was D23 this weekend where they announced Kingdom Hearts 3 will be coming in 2018. They showed off the Toy Story world, and they showed off some other Marvel stuff. And I don't think anything was announced for Switch, but apparently Kingdom Hearts 3 may be coming to Switch. It's like not out of the realm of possibility. I guess we did have some Kingdom Hearts like on 3DS and all of that. I've been digging into Marvel comics a lot, which I'm excited to kind of get into that because, Nintendo and Marvel and Disney and Pixar all kind of, have very similar themes, and I'm excited to see maybe I can, learn about all of that through Marvel comics. Another thing I just want to get out there real quick is that I tried the Whole 30 last week. Shout out to anyone that's tried to do the Whole 30. I know Brian Altano from Nintendo Voice Chat, which is another Nintendo podcast that you guys have probably heard of. He did the Whole 30 and lost a ton of weight. I did it for 4 days. That thing is crap, let me tell you. It is the most brutal experience ever. And you're eating spinach with grilled chicken on top. It's the worst possible thing. Complete torture. You can't have dairy. You can't have any sort of wheat. You can't even have beans. You can't have anything that has processed or preservatives or, sugars in it. And today I had a Wendy's bacon queso burger, and I think my body's not liking it. I mean, I only did Whole 30 for 4 days, so it's not like my body got acclimated to new things, but I got the Wendy's bacon queso burger, and that thing was, I was expecting more of kind of like a nacho sort of queso,
right.
Kind of like a runny cheese, but it was more of like a salsa queso. So it had like chunks of pepper and onion in it. Really not sitting well with me. So if I just halt the podcast, you know why. Some other real quick games I want to give shout outs to. It's Fire Emblem Heroes. They have the summer event going on, and I played a little bit of that. I got one of the special focus characters. I believe it was Robin the Tactician. I got them in their summer outfit, and I haven't gotten anyone else yet. But that's a special event that you don't want to miss going on for the summer. And they're also giving out tons of orbs for it, so save up your orbs. If you get to 20 orbs, you can summon 5 different heroes, and you get a really good chance at getting one of the rare ones. And the other thing going on right now is the Pokemon Go 1-year anniversary event, where you can get Pikachu with a little Ash Ketchum hat, or if you hatch an egg, it could be a Pichu with an Ash Ketchum hat, which is even rarer than a Pikachu.
Yeah, well, and there's also the shiny event going on, too. For Pokemon Sun and Moon and stuff, the distribution of that one Pokemon. Forget what it's called, but yeah, there's a shiny Pokemon that's for free if you own those copies.
I actually did boot up Pokemon Sun because I had to make room on my 3DS for the Miitomo or Miitopia and Hey Pikmin demos, and so I had to delete the Pokemon Sun and Moon demo, which is like 3,000 blocks or something. But I had to get my Greninja off of that, so I had my Ash Greninja. I still hadn't got that off of it yet, so I finally did that.
I finally went in and deleted the Super Smash Brothers demo, the Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire demo, and the special Pokemon Sun and Moon demo that I just had sitting on there because it was I felt just added some cool history on there, but I just decided to just part ways because now I opened up 7,000 blocks, and so that's cool.
Gosh, that's probably, especially the Smash demo, that was probably huge.
Yeah.
And I've also been playing tons of Mario Kart. I've completed all the cups, got all the stars, and now I'm working on time trials, which is so fun.
Yeah.
I never did time trials on the Wii U really, but time trials on the Switch, it's so cool because you can just pick it up and do a quick one. But also, what I love about it, after doing 3 stars on all of the different cups and Grand Prix and all that, is it's completely skill-based. And so you have 3 mushrooms, you have to race the ghost, and if you beat the ghost on every time trial, you get the golden wheels. And so I'm trying to go through and do that, and it's just nice to not have to worry about RNG and randomly getting hit with a blue shell. It's just, if you mess up, it's on you, and it's way more fun to lose when it's because it's on you and you just need to get better.
Yeah.
And so that's been relaxing. And last 2 more things. I've been playing a little bit of ARMS. I tried Ranked Battle last night with Max Brass, who was just released this past week. We have full patch notes that we're going to get to in the Nintendo pipeline, but I think he's going to be my new main character. I love him. He has this charge ability where if you do your normal dash hold, how you kind of power up your fists, if you hold it even longer with him, he kind of puffs up his chest and seems to be really strong. And I've been like being able to nail punches and just charge through anyone. And so I went through a few ranked matches last night and was dominating with him. And the last thing is that my wife is leaving for a trip this week, and she'll be gone for, I think, 11 days. And so I'm going to have lots of evenings and weekends free. And I'm debating two things. One, I could do lots of live streaming, and we could maybe build up our community on our YouTube page and all of that if you guys are interested in live streaming. Or my other thing is I'm kind of leaning towards just using it as a time to film a ton of Let's Plays. Like I'm considering maybe going through Zelda Master Mode and doing that like with a special challenge of, going through the whole game naked in Master Mode or something, or only wearing the Tingle outfit and recording it in bulk so you guys can have that series for the next few months with just this extra time I'll have in the next few weeks. And so if you are a dedicated listener, or maybe you're a new listener and you like what you hear here and you like this channel, maybe leave a comment down below and let us know, or tweet at us at Koppai Gaming and let us know if you'd prefer that we do some live streaming with this extra time we have, knowing well in advance that it would be kind of a limited time thing, or if you'd rather have Let's Play videos that would last, for months. I'm leaning more on the side of doing Let's Plays, because then we don't have to worry about, establishing a consistency. But I thought I'd leave it up. Maybe we can do a little bit of both. But
yeah.
And also let me know what games you'd like to see. Like Zelda is an obvious choice with Master Mode, but I'm also considering playing through the Splatoon 2 campaign and just recording all of it as a Let's Play series. And so leave comments down below if you want to. And yeah, we'll handle that as it comes. So that's everything we have for what we're playing. We'll talk about more Splatoon, Miitopia, and Hey Pikmin at the end of the show if we have time, but also be sure to tune in next week when the reviews are in for those games, and we can talk about what the critics are saying. But for now, let's unclog the Nintendo pipeline. Each week we dive into Nintendo's pipes to find out what's happening in the world of Mario and friends. And this week we have 11 pipe plug-in news bits that need to be dealt with. And number one is all about Splatoon. There was a Splatoon 2 versus Splatoon 1 comparison, and it found that there's a noticeable enhancements in the sequel. And so this is to silence all those people out there that are like, oh, it's Splatoon 1.5, a dirty, Triforce Heroes. No. Splatoon 2 is Splatoon 2, and it builds upon the Splatoon experience in various ways. Visually speaking, the upcoming sequel features a number of noticeable enhancements compared to the original game on Wii U. For example, the hub and characters in the Nintendo Switch title pop out more with brighter colors, lively animations, dynamic camera angles, and detailed textures. Digital Foundry tested out Splatoon 2 and revealed their findings. They're the leading technology comparison website, and they spent some time this past weekend playing through the final build of Splatoon 2, and the long-awaited Splatoon 2 runs at a solid 60 frames per second, which is locked, meaning it's super smooth to play, never dips. The game provides a dynamic resolution, which the publication says is between 864p and 1080p to accommodate the locked 60 frame rate. Overall, the game features improved shadows and models, as well as lighting, even over the Wii U original, and so, which is super impressive when you consider the fact that this game is also in like a handheld game, that they're able to basically improve upon the Wii U and make it portable. I noticed personally when playing the Splatfest that it seemed as though lighting, especially, and shadows and the neon lights they have going on were very much so, what would be the term? Like they influenced the paint splatters a lot. Like
yeah,
if it was purple versus light blue, for example, and the purple was in the shadow, it was like this deep, dark purple. But if it was in the light, it almost became kind of pink. So
right.
Across the whole map, there's like this gradient of colors where it seemed like in Splatoon 1, all the colors were very flat or very solid, very bold. There wasn't like any really fade to any of them. And if there's like an area where the splat is kind of ending, you can see that the colors are kind of thinning out, where if there's a big pool of color, you can kind of almost see the depth of the paint, which is really cool when you start to really fill up the map. it's like extremely noticeable. Like it's not even like nitpicking the game and being like, oh, I guess there's some gradients. Like it's very, very obvious.
No, there was a moment, one of the first matches I was playing where I was seriously spraying down and I couldn't tell. Wait, is that the enemy's color? But it was mine.
Yeah.
The gradient was so like it changed it so much that then I had to think, oh, the other team is actually they make it so. Even with the gradients, the other one is so opposite to what your color is that you can tell really
like
easily.
Blue to orange. Like you're not getting any blue shades in your orange gradient.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. But it was pretty interesting because there was never that issue in the first Splatoon, but it was really cool too, just because it just makes it all feel much livelier and everything.
That's a good point. I did shoot my own ink thinking it was a different color because the gradient's that strong.
Yeah, definitely. And I noticed too right away, they even really kind of play with the beauty of the new lighting and graphic effects when you first boot into the game, and it has the, I don't know, how it kind of fades in, almost like I would compare it to something like Rockstar would do, like Grand Theft Auto, like the way that you kind of fade into the city, and it has just the blur effects, and then the motion, and then the lighting, and just the really nice, beautiful textures and stuff they got going. It's just they really put a lot of polish into it that I'm just blown away and super impressed by. But
well, I mean, they were pretty much able to build upon the original engine, so it makes sense that it's just nothing but improvements. But I actually got the Art of Splatoon, the Art of Splatoon book, or the art book of Splatoon, whatever it's called.
That's gonna be awesome.
This past week, and I flipped through that, and I got it, and it's actually really cool. They had some like behind the scenes concept art for especially like the lead characters, and it's all Splatoon 1 based, so it's about Sheldon, and I guess Sheldon's back, but the original characters and Callie and Marie and the original Inkopolis and some of the original enemy designs, but it's just really cool to see like their notes and what they were kind of designing for it. And the weapon design, like I think they have like every single 3D render of every weapon. They had some of the Splatfest, and then they had like just pages and pages of each individual piece of graffiti. Some lore hidden in there, like apparently there's an unwritten rule in Inkling culture that if you're gonna graffiti over something, you have to make sure it's even more fresh than the thing that was graffitied before. Like it's just all about being more and more fresh and more stylish, and pages and pages of the sunken scrolls where it's like the Inklings don't really care about this, but it's actually the history of their people, and just so fun to read through all of that and look through the art book, and definitely worth picking up. I think it's only like $20 or something, and it's a huge, hefty art book, and so they do actually tease some Splatoon 2 stuff at the end. They give a few promotional images at the end, and so speaking of Splatoon 2 accessories, we haven't got to wait too long until Splatoon 2 hits the Nintendo Switch shelves, or whatever that means, on July 21st. And to celebrate its upcoming release, peripheral manufacturers Hori and RDS Industries have teamed up with Nintendo to produce some rather funky themed accessories. And so there's a traveling case and some other peripherals which you can check out on Amazon, including the Splatoon 2 Pro Controller, which has, I think, like a pink handle and a green handle to reflect the Splatoon 2 colors, and there's the new Joy-Cons and all of that to check out. So be sure to hop over to Amazon and search for Splatoon 2 accessories. And lastly, with Splatoon, the vast majority of Nintendo of America was Team Ice Cream in Splatoon 2, including Reggie. And the vast majority of staff was siding with Ice Cream for the first ever Splatfest in Splatoon 2, which pitted fans of Ice Cream against those of Cake. Based on the results of the poll conducted by the company, a whopping 76% of its employees favored Ice Cream, compared to only 24% who preferred Cake, which was ultimately reflected in the actual voting. I think it was 74% was Ice Cream in the overall community. And Ice Cream did win overall. Interesting enough, though, when it came to team battles, Cake won. So Team Ice Cream had the popular vote, Team Ice Cream had solo wins, and then Team Cake actually won when it was team on team, which is actually kind of a cool voting system. Once again, we didn't really play Splatfest and Splatoon 1 too much, but it's popularity and then solo versus team, so that does give Cake a chance to win. Like, it's not like it's overall splatted terrain or something. Like, it's even if there's only one Cake team out there, if they win every match, they can win it for Team Cake. So
could they?
They could.
I guess. Yeah, I guess theoretically that would work.
If there's one Cake team and
Right.
Cake wins 100% of the time, they win.
And what I was kind of wondering, like when Ice Cream kept having to fight themselves over and over again because there was just too many ice creams, like was that doing anything for Ice Cream's score, like knocking it down, or was it just to test out the game? Like,
Yeah, probably just to test out the game. I mean, because I would
to
think
keep it going, because I was like, they probably had to have a system in place where, if it's taking too long to find Cake, which a lot of people I was reading just never fought against a Cake team.
Yeah, my wife was complaining. She was like, "Is this how the game's always going to be? Like, is it always going to be this slow?" And I read from Per Schneider, who's the Nintendo host for Nintendo Voice Chat, and he was saying that it's usually just Splatfest that's this slow because of things like that, where it's trying to match you up with Cake and it's trying to match you up with solo members and just keep it all fair and balanced, but also it's trying to keep the event in mind. Once you get into like actual gameplay, and it's the Splatfest weekend, so everyone was playing at the same time, so lots of issues being tested out. But no, we had a blast with that. We'll talk about it when we get a chance. But yeah, I was Team Ice Cream all the way. Glad we won. It was very obvious. That wasn't even a choice for me. It was obviously Ice Cream all the way.
Yeah.
You mentioned cheesecake, and I was like, that is a good point, but still.
But there's cheesecake ice cream that like is essentially exactly the same. Or you can just, I don't know. It's like, is cheesecake even technically cake? Like, it's kind of an interesting thought. It's called cheesecake. There's cake in there, but I think it's
pancakes
debatable.
aren't cakes.
Right, exactly. So yeah, this is all, there's some tricky territory, but I do think like with ice cream and stuff, I mean, you can get cake ice cream. You could always put ice cream like on a bread and have sweet sort of.
You can have ice cream cake, yeah.
And there's a whole portability factor with ice cream that's amazing, like with the cones and waffle cones and stuff. It's just, I don't know. I thought it was pretty easy to decide on ice cream because of just.
And the thing is cake is made better when you can add ice cream with it, but ice cream isn't really made better by adding cake. Like ice cream's always just good on its own.
Yep.
And so
good points.
that just says it right there.
Yep.
And so yeah, let us know in the comments what you were, if you were Team Cake or Team Ice Cream. But yeah, Team Ice Cream. And it's National Ice Cream Day today.
Oh wow.
Which is crazy. Like they planned that out well. They knew ice cream was gonna win.
Yeah, that's appropriate.
So
that's crazy. But I'm really hyped that. No, I was just gonna say real quick, like
no problem.
Splatoon 2 is almost here. It comes out this Friday, and that's just like
Thursday night.
Yeah, Thursday night. It'll probably be. I guess it's usually 11 o'clock here, or maybe it'll be 10. Yeah, 11.
Not sure.
Yeah, it's just. I think that's one of the games that. I mean, a lot of people. It's kind of crazy to think about how many missed out because of the Wii U, and now, I mean, there's not million. Like, it's not like the Switch is because of demand has been so high, but there hasn't been enough units out. There's still only, and a lot of. There's 2.75 million Switches out there, I think, and then probably how many of those are actually already Wii U owners also who pre-ordered and, early adopters of that. But it's still really cool to see that I think this platform is going to take off unbelievably, and it's just really nice to have Splatoon finally on the Switch. It's just, it came so quickly. I can't believe it. But
yeah, it's awesome to have it out like in the first 6 months, and it's a real bummer that the game isn't shipping with like a Splatoon 1 campaign deluxe or something, because it's a real shame that people won't be able to play through that campaign and kind of get introduced to that world through that story and through those levels and the sunken scrolls and meeting Callie and Marie. But I mean, once again though, it's the same thing with like I'm huge into Destiny, and like people, it's going to be such a bummer, especially like the PC community, that people are getting into Destiny 2 without ever having played Destiny 1, because there's so much to it, and that's just the nature of these kind of sequels. Lots of times
it'll be interesting.
Games like platforms like this, or that are only online games, pretty much. You just for the archival part of it, it's like almost impossible to ever get that experience of Splatfest back. Like if you miss Splatfest in Splatoon 1, you can't just go buy the game and play it. That's just gone now. Yeah. So it's weird.
Well, and it'll be interesting too to think. I think we had a discussion on a couple podcasts ago or something about the Wii U and if it'll end up being kind of a harder console to find eventually, or what's
Yeah.
gonna end up with it in its games, or some of them gonna go up in price and rarity. I wonder if Splatoon will become one of those games that's later down the line, if Splatoon keeps its momentum and grows into this big thing, and then people are looking to go and maybe find a Wii U to play Splatoon on, is it going to be one of those games that ends up being in high demand and kind of harder to find, kind of like a rare
Yeah.
gem? But yeah, I'm planning actually. I'll probably play some today to go in and try to get that campaign finished in Splatoon 1 here before.
It's awesome.
And also to get me, just because like it's really beneficial. I felt I have played it not too long ago, and it was nice to go into Splatoon 2 with not having come off too much of a break from, because it's nice to be still in kind of that groove in the controls. It really helps a lot,
Yeah,
because you can kind of lose that and be like, oh, kind of have to get back into it. But especially with I wanted to mention too, the Pro controller is just so freaking good compared to like
Yeah.
the gamepad. It's just so compact, and it just feels like you have a lot more control. And a couple matches I was like standing up with it to like get even more into it, kind of hungry boxing it. And it was
Hungry
just
Box,
like,
get good grades.
yeah, and it was just so cool. It was like, I just think that controller is beautiful, and I
want the Splatoon one.
yeah,
It looks kind of fun.
yeah, it does. But I was kind of thinking about too. I wish that the Wii U, I don't believe, because it's also like the map and everything is on the gamepad. I don't think you can use
No.
the Wii U Pro controller to play it, but that would be really awesome.
I don't think so.
too. But yeah, it's almost here, so that's not a big deal. Pretty soon, Splatoon will be kind of in the past, and Splatoon 2 will be all that's really relevant. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I didn't beat the campaign until this past year, but yeah, definitely. And if you're wondering, if you're out there that like with someone that has a Wii U and you can't get a Switch maybe until this holiday season, and you're wondering if you hadn't played Splatoon 1, if you're wondering if you should get it or just wait for Splatoon 2, if you can find the game, I definitely think it's worth playing through that campaign. It's going to be a different campaign in Splatoon 2, so you're never going to have those levels and that experience. And the levels are so well designed. The boss fights are so fun. Definitely go through. I mean, no one really seems to talk about the Splatoon 1 campaign. It's always about the Splatfest and the online multiplayer and the turf wars. But the campaign in itself was so awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a whole like Mario Sunshine, just awesome game.
Well,
so.
I have heard a lot of critical acclaim for it. People saying that it's kind of a hidden gemmy part of the game, but it's not.
It's like tucked away in the corner. You have to like slink over there and try to get in.
Yeah, but I hear usually that it's not something that would justify maybe necessarily paying $60 for the whole game. Like the whole experience.
Yeah, maybe not 60.
The whole experience is about kind of the online too, and that aspect of it, the Splatfest. But it is a solid, really, really classic kind of Nintendo polished campaign experience. And I think Splatoon 2 is just, from what we've seen indicated so far, it's going to take it even further into just perfecting the formula unbelievably well. So I think this is going to be a 10 out of 10 game for me anyway. So
yeah,
really
definitely
excited.
Can't wait to have it digitally too. It was so nice after the Splatfest. When that wrapped up, I just switched on over to ARMS. I'm like, all right, cool. Time to go over to ARMS, and it's just nice having it all right there. Number 2, we'll have to go a little faster. Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 is coming to the Switch on September 22nd in the West. We already knew the game was coming, but now we have a confirmed release date of September 22nd. It's coming to the Nintendo Switch. When we already knew the game would be releasing on September 7th in Japan, the European and American release dates weren't confirmed yet. However, Bandai Namco has revealed the aspiring Super Saiyans will be able to get the game in less than a month after their Japanese counterparts. And Bandai Namco also tells Switch owners to focus on Xenoverse 2 before getting your hopes up for Fighter Z. Although Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 is coming to Nintendo Switch in September, some Dragon Ball fans are still asking for a Switch version of the recently announced Dragon Ball FighterZ. However, developer Tomoko Hiroki has told Nintendo players to wait until Xenoverse 2 has been released before talking about a FighterZ port. I don't know who KS is. Is KS one of the publishers, maybe one or like Kotaku or something. I'm not too sure. They say that there's an overwhelmingly insane support for Nintendo Switch version of Fighters. Have you seen the outreach, and is there anything you would like to say to them? In which case, Tomoko Hiroki said, in terms of the Switch version, we're currently working on Xenoverse 2, so we want players to go there first, and then we can talk about Fighters. So
screw that.
Yeah, I am so excited for Fighters. And if this is like a whole vote with your wallet thing, like, well, if you want Fighters, you better buy Xenoverse 2. Like, no way. Like, I love Dragon Ball Z. We grew up on Dragon Ball Z. I love fighting games. I can't wait for Fighter Z or Fighters, however you're supposed to say that out loud. But no way am I getting Xenoverse 2, knowing there's Fighters coming, even if I have to get on another platform. Like, no. Like,
yeah,
I wish they would have done like Xenoverse Deluxe, where it was Xenoverse 1 and 2, because maybe then I could justify going through the campaign, because I do hear the campaign's kind of cool, where you get to go through all of the Dragon Ball Z story with your own Super Saiyan. Mm-hmm. But I don't want just 2, and I don't want that all. It's just, no. Like, just give me Fighters.
Well, okay, so Xenoverse 2 has been out for a while, hasn't it? Hasn't it been on other? Yeah, it's been. So this is just we're getting a port of it. I just find it kind of strange that they're even like doing this at all. I mean, for one, it seems like why make such a huge deal out of Xenoverse 2 coming if it's not even a new game? Why are they making it like such a big? I would think that it should come out a little bit more like, the port's coming out, but Fighter Z or Fighters is also like getting an enormous amount of support to bring that out as soon as possible too. Like, why not just say that? Why say like Xenoverse 2 is your guys' Dragon Ball Z game? Like, you guys.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I don't know. Yeah,
and it almost says like when he says we want players to first go there. It's almost it really sounds to me like what we were talking about with Sonic Mania, where it's like if you want more Sonic Mania games, you have to buy Sonic Mania. Like, it almost sounds like if Switch players want Dragon Ball Z games, they have to buy this one. And we actually had the worry, I think, with the Switch that it was going to be a Wii U thing where, Wii U developers were like, well, no one bought Assassin's Creed, so no one wants Assassin's Creed on, Wii U. And it's like, well, that's because you released Black Flag on there, and it was like an old game. Like, you released an older version, or like they put, what did they put? They put like Batman Arkham something on there, and it was like a year old or something, and it was a lesser version. It's like, you guys can't, do that and then be mad that we're not buying it because some of us already own it. Like, I think Xenoverse 2 is like $10 on Steam if I want to go get it there.
Right, yeah.
And it's probably going to be $60 here, and it's, I mean.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's, there's no way. It doesn't make any sense. And it does seem a little bit like just kind of a marketing thing where, and kind of a bad, it's like an obvious marketing thing, but I think a bad approach where he's just like, he's got to encourage everybody to go buy Xenoverse 2, and they have.
If he says Fighters is coming, people are gonna be like, "Oh, well, forget Xenoverse 2."
Right. But I just think they should do it maybe a little bit more casually. I understand. I guess it's kind of a tricky thing with that, but I think that I'm gonna have to hold out anyway. I'm not gonna support Xenoverse 2 and just hope and hold out that they do announce Fighters inevitably afterwards. Like, it's.
But if they do announce Fighters for Switch and say it comes out a month or 2 months or even 6 months after every other version, I will hold out for Fighters on Switch. Because, man, that game looks gorgeous. Would love it on my Switch.
And that's another thing they might be thinking about, because, that's a good point. Like, it's coming out, so they might. It just seems, I see kind of shadiness in it, the way that they're just framing it, because it seems a bit too, like, we're not going to announce Fighters for Switch yet, so that people do that, where if you have a PS4 or something, you can just sell more, and then when we'll inevitably announce it for Switch and sneak that out on you, then you'll also pick it up for Switch, and we can just sell more Xenoverse 2s, and we can sell more Fighters.
Yeah.
It's just like, let's just try to milk as many, of these sales as we possibly can, but.
We'll probably get another Direct or something where there's like a third-party highlight reel or, another thing like that. And I bet Fighters is out, next year or something on Switch.
And the thing is it just seems like there's no way it can't run on the Switch. Like, if Xenoverse 2 is coming out, it just seems Fighters is not. It's like a Guilty Gear kind of styled game, super like hand-drawn sort of animation. It just seems.
I'll have to see it. But I'll have to see if Guilty Gear did anything for Wii U.
Yeah, I believe they did. Oh, actually, not Wii U, maybe, but they've done it for Nintendo before anyway. There's Guilty Gear games on
Or
Nintendo
Arc
platform.
System Works. That's who they
Yeah.
are.
But yeah, I would just assume the Switch is more than capable of handling it. So, if that's the case, I would not assume, especially with the way they word this, where it just seems like they want to get their games on any platform they possibly can to sell as many copies. And Nintendo Switch is doing well, so
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. I think we'll get it. I'm
Um.
guaranteeing we're getting fighters on the Switch.
Yeah. They. Oh, Arc System Works apparently had a hand in Dragon Ball Z Extreme Budokan or whatever it is on 3DS. Arc System Works, one of their latest fighting games, I think, was Blaze Blue, Chrono Phantasma
Oh yeah.
Extend, or whatever that is. And that was on PlayStation 3, 4, Xbox One, Vita, and PC. So no Wii U there. Guilty Gear was PlayStation 3, 4, PC, and Steam. Their latest Wii U game was not by Arc System Works. It was by Axis Games, and that was Family Tennis SP. So whatever the crap that is.
All right.
I don't know. Yeah, they don't have much. They had a lot in the Wii era. They had once again though. This was all Axis Games, which must be like a co-studio or a sister studio or something. And on the Wii, they had Family Table Tennis, Family Glide Hockey, Family Pirate Party, Family Mini Golf, Family Slot Car Racing. So I don't know if we're gonna get fighters on Switch, because they don't really have a track record of working with the Wii U. But that Wii U is also just a weird era. Like, we never had Skyrim on Wii U. Like,
Yeah.
and so who knows. The future is unknown
I
to
know.
everyone.
I'm calling
But-
it now.
All right, yeah, I would play the crap out of that.
We'll
Number
see in a
3,
year.
Nintendo. Nintendo applies for a Nintendo check-in trademark. My Nintendo News reports that Nintendo has something up its sleeves, as it has been revealed that they have applied for a new trademark for something called Nintendo Check-in. The trademark application was made by Nintendo Company. Any guesses as to what the services might be? The logo is Mario's cap with a little check mark that looks like his mustache. I personally think that it's going to be something like a street pass sort of thing, where you take your Switch somewhere and it's maybe a location, and you can check in with your Switch and connect to other players through something like that.
Yeah.
Just like it was Street Pass or something, or they had like Nintendo zones or Nintendo landmarks where you could basically drop off your Mii and other people could pass by it, and all sorts of things like that.
Yeah.
Seems like Nintendo check-in makes a lot of sense for that.
Yeah, they the biggest I guess prediction or rumor for what this could be is that it's going to be for the Universal Studios theme park attractions, like to check in there, to check into different locations around the parks, something like that. But yeah, I could also see them being used for a whole bunch of different Nintendo related events and amiibo nights, like launch parties, things like that. That'd be really cool
Yeah.
to be able to maybe earn points on your My Nintendo by attending a release party for this game. It'd be really cool to encourage people to pre-order things and then go physically pick them up somewhere, like make a deal with Walmart or something. Like Walmart has, because oftentimes Target and them will have those little like Rubik's Cube Mario Maker sort of thing. It's like, I don't know, if you go to one of those special things. I know when the Switch was out, Walmart had like a Nintendo Switch cake, and they had all these different things. They kind of made a party out of it, So
Yeah.
I could see them doing tons of different things with it, and I really thought it was kind of clever, just the little the check mark being Mario's sort of mustache.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
I'm bummed I didn't think of that as a logo for something. I don't know, but
Yeah.
makes me want to toy around with stuff. Maybe anything we can do for Koppai. Number 4, online play is now available thanks to for NBA Playgrounds, thanks to a new update. The new update is finally adding online play to the Nintendo Switch version. It is announced on the Nintendo Switch News tab on the console itself. The update contains not only online play, but an adjusted shooting system and 15 new players, including Isaiah Thomas, Dennis Rodman. And as of right now, this update is only available in Europe, but other countries shouldn't be too far behind. And so you can finally play online with that game, which I think means that now you don't get Shaq Fu as a free update.
But is that only in Europe?
Yeah, so maybe now's the time to go get
time to sneak in there.
Yeah, go get NBA Playgrounds if you want a free Shaq Fu copy. For those of you that don't know, it was reported that if you bought NBA Playgrounds before they added online play as a sort of apology, you'd get Shaq Fu for free this fall. So 2-for-1 deal if you go grab it now. Number 5, the producer of the Castlevania animated series on Netflix wants to work on a Metroid adaptation. Adi Shankar is the producer of the Castlevania animated series, which was recently renewed for a second season. Shankar sat down with Nintendo Life for an interview where he was asked what other game series he'd like to adapt. In response, he revealed that he'd love to work on a Metroid adaptation in a similar anime style as Castlevania's. I believe right now we're also working on an Assassin's Creed one. But he said, I think something along the lines of, he's setting his sights on Assassin's Creed next, but with his interest in Nintendo's franchise, he said that Dark Metroid is in the same anime style as Castlevania. And so that'd be awesome. I hear the Castlevania animated series is a huge hit. I think it got like an 8.1 on IGN, is being claimed as like one of the best video game adaptations, like from video game to television, basically. And so could be legit.
Yeah, I saw the clip. Was watching Game Scoop, I believe, and they showed a little clip of it, and I was just like, oh, I can't even believe they're showing this on their little podcast, because it was really graphic and like seemed just really but like beautiful in a way. I mean, it was like horrible and scary, but just because it's an anime and the animation, and I'm really into that kind of thing. It's like both. I mean, it kind of reminded me almost of like an anime Game of Thrones or something, where it's just so well done and captivating and kind of raw and real, as like you could believe maybe some of this actually occurring, or just like some of the brutality is just really, it's cool to see a video game, adaptation done right and mature and not afraid to push the limits in a way that's kind of shocking, maybe in a way. It's just cool to see. It feels they weren't limited by what they could do. They tried to stay as true and to the game as possible and tell the story accurately. And so that's really awesome, and I'm gonna have to go check that out, because from the little preview I saw, it looked absolutely breathtaking. And so
I'm not like really big into Castlevania, so that's kind of a bummer.
I'm hoping to. Well, after playing through Metroid and stuff, I want to play through like Symphony of the Night and some of those Metroidvania, like where they really, I hear they're absolutely amazing. So
I have played through one start to finish. It was like on the DS, I think. I'm not too sure what one that was, and it was so dark, so scary.
Yeah.
But I would love to check it out. But yeah, so there's that. Look forward to that. I'm excited for the Assassin's Creed one.
Yeah, that sounds cool too.
This next one is a little bit of a biggie. Oh, looks like it's actually a glitch, or not a glitch, but like a mistake. So there's actually only 10 pieces of news, because number 6 and 7 are one and the same. ARMS has a new 2.0 update, which is now live on the Nintendo Switch, including the Max Brass character being added. So here's everything you need to know. It's reported that a new software update for ARMS has become available for download. Update version 2.0 introduces several new features, tweaks multiple components, and fixes a number of issues. One of the most notable additions is the new versus mode Headlock Scramble, which allows players to temporarily become headlock by touching a particular capsule. And so you can now we're going to go through the complete list of everything included. Rapid fire! ARMS League Commissioner Max Brass has been added as a playable character. He is super awesome. There's a new arm called Nade, a new arm called Roaster, these are all of Max Brass's new arms. Nade, Roaster, and Kablammer. Kablammer is super awesome. It's kind of like a whack-a-mole hammer sort of thing. And when you charge up Max Brass, they really just go to town. I think it's fire damage. I love them. There's a new stage called Sky Arena, which I believe is Max Brass's location. A new versus mode called Headlock Scramble, which we just talked about. Punch or touch capsules contain the headlock mask to become headlock for a period of time. This can be selected in versus, friend, or local, and it will also appear in party matches. Stats have been added to the top menu, and you can check your stats such as your most used fighter, best stage, and arm accuracy.
That's really
Events
cool.
have also been added to the top menu, and here you can set whether or not you want to join official online events similar to Mario Kart tournaments. Snake Park has been swapped for Sky Arena and ranked match stage rosters. They've raised the highest rank in ranked match to 20, and they've also increased the penalty for disconnecting during rank match online play. They've shortened the amount of time necessary for the following arms to return after being exhausted, making them easier to use: Megaton, Megawatt, Revolver, Retorture, and Boomerang. They've also increased the movement speed of Guardian, improved the visibility during charge attacks for Popper and Cracker, increased the amount of time necessary for the following arms to return after being knocked down, including increasing risk for Popper, Cracker, and Hydra, increased the amount of time it takes to recover when a grab is deflected with a single punch, which is awesome, decrease the amount of damage when Hydra's rush connects with the multiple consecutive hits, and decrease the distance Kid Cobra travels when jumping, which is awesome because he was always hopping all over the place. Stupid Kid Cobra. They also fixed an issue where in some instances Ribbon Girl could remain airborne for an overlong period of time while continually attacking, probably because of her double jump. They fixed an issue where Ninjara would not destroy the light boxes on the Ribbon Ring stage when getting up. That's weird. That's a weird glitch. Fixed an issue where the time necessary for the Tri-Blast to return when deflected was shortened. They also fixed an issue where arms such as Blorb and Megaton would catch on the ground and fail to fire. They fixed an issue where explosive arms would sometimes fail to explode when receiving an attack. And they fixed an issue where Slapamander would sometimes fail to hit Helix when he was extended.
Huh.
Man, glitches be crazy. An online play fixed an issue where the appearance of or non-appearance of items would differ between devices, which I don't know what that means. It's like TV or I don't know. In online play, they also fixed the various issues with the volleyball, including an issue where the volleyball could remain grounded and play would not proceed. In online play, they fixed an issue where sometimes Bart could continually defend against an opponent rush for a set period of time. And in online play, they also fixed an issue where sometimes pillars in the scrapyard would not be destructible.
Huh.
So,
Wow.
There you go.
They've been busy.
Yeah, that's not even know there was some of those things, but I did know that Kid Cobra was a jump-a-maniac.
Yeah.
So that's good to know.
That's really cool. I really like the stats are finally there because that's one of the things that's always really cool to check out in like Mario Kart and in Super Smash and everything. And
Smash especially.
well, do they have a replay saver thing yet to like save replays and rewatch them in matches?
I'm not sure. Part of me wants to say yes. The other part of me is like, no.
Yeah, I didn't believe they did, but that'd be a cool feature to also have because
they
especially
do
like a
the
fighting
highlights
game.
at the end.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not too sure. But yeah, no, I'm excited to view my stats. And like I said earlier, Max Brass is my homie now. I'm excited to use him a lot. And he has some cool colors. So yeah. Arms is awesome. We love Arms. Number 8. Lawbreakers isn't on Switch. This is an awesome headline. Isn't on Switch due to lack of buttons, according to the developer. Lawbreakers, a new first-person shooter game from designer Cliff Bleszinski and the Boss Key Productions team, isn't currently planned to release on Nintendo Switch. And the lead designer, Dan Nanny, said in a recent interview with Gaming Bolt that the Switch's lack of buttons is the hardest part when porting Lawbreakers. Quote, "There's a possibility for everything and anything in this world. I think the hardest part with the Switch is the controls. Look at the game that we have right now. And we just literally by the skin of our teeth put the entire game in the control pad that the PlayStation has. That means that we could probably make it work for the Xbox One in some way, right? But if you're looking at the Switch, the base controller that's on the unit, it doesn't have as many buttons." And then My Nintendo News goes on to say that doesn't necessarily mean the game won't come to Nintendo Switch, but it's just going to be interesting to see how they could come up with it in the future. But Lawbreakers did tweet out that they admitted they were wrong because someone counted the buttons, and there's 16 buttons on the Pro Controller and 16 buttons on the DualShock 4. And so Lawbreakers tweeted out, "Number of buttons, our bad. Hashtag Nintendo fans, yep, we know. Hashtag buttons AF." So... They literally just were in an interview and they were like, we probably won't go to the Switch because there's just not enough buttons. And people looked at their controllers and they're like, What are you talking about?
Well, I was kind of
360.
intrigued by the fact that they even mentioned, like, we barely even got it on the PlayStation 4 controller. Like, what do you expect? Maybe we can get
By
it
the
on the
skin
Xbox.
of our teeth.
Yeah, maybe the Xbox One, but the Switch? What, are you out of your mind? It's like,
I think
what?
people even said that, like, with the screenshot button and all that, there's actually more buttons on.
Yeah, that'd be
on the
interesting if they, like,
Switch.
disabled, like, to use those as extra buttons in a game. I wonder if that's even possible, but I would doubt it.
Oh,
You can't
I'd
disable the
hate that.
home.
I love my screenshot button.
Yeah,
I'm wondering how they're gonna do video because they said that button would eventually be used for video.
hold it down
It's
there.
like how, yeah, hold it down, but yeah, maybe that's how. But interesting. But yeah, no, I thought that was just a really funny story because I knew when I read the headline as I was going through the news bits for this week, I knew that they had tweeted out that they were wrong. Like I think Cliff Blazinski like retweeted like someone's tweet where they're like, "Hey Cliff, did you know that there's like the same amount of buttons?"
Yeah.
So just admit that the game is probably not like a first-person shooter. May not be the best game for a Switch unit. Like if you have different things going on and graphics and all that, and just say it's not a game we want on the Switch. Like instead of trying to say like, oh, there's by the skin of our teeth we had to put it on the control pad, and how are we going to get it on the Xbox One?
Yeah, I could have saw how they would argue. I mean, I think there's some games that will not allow you to use just a single Joy-Con or something like that. I mean, I could see the argument made that if you're using it in just single Joy-Con mode, definitely.
I guess
there's
that's
a lot of
ridiculous to
games
think
that-
that's like a standard though.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I would.
He's looking at one Joy-Con like, how do we get this full game
Yeah.
on one Joy-Con?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
don't know.
no, awesome. Number 9, production has ended on the small new Nintendo 3DS. Side note, I really, really want one. The new Nintendo 3DS with the interchangeable cover plates is no longer in production. The news was announced by Nintendo Japan, and it's now worldwide. The system hasn't proved to be as popular as the new Nintendo 3DS XL, which rules the roost. The current models of the Nintendo 3DS will now be the new Nintendo 3DS XL and the upcoming new Nintendo 2DS XL. So
Wow.
you just got the new XLs out there. If you want 2DS or 3DS, it's up to you. Personally, though, I played my wife's small 2DS and really, really loved it. Loved playing on that thing. And I realized it's not because it's the 2DS where it's like not the wedge. I just really, really do like playing the smaller 3DS. Like it's a bummer because you miss out on the big screen, but something about how compact it is really comfortable for on the go. And
But not the
I'm
OG 3DS you're not talking about. You're talking about...
No, I'm talking about the one with the cover plates where you can change out those
Right.
and all that.
Yeah.
And it has the little nub still. And especially if they get maybe cheaper because they're discontinued or something, I'm not too sure if they'll get cheaper or more expensive. I really want one because, especially with the Switch, it's so fun to switch out the Joy-Cons and change your colors. And I would love to maybe get a few different cover plates and then put my Majora's Mask new 3DS XL like on the shelf and just keep it up as a prop or something.
Now, I was kind of confused because I was under the impression that, I mean, because they announced first that they were discontinuing it in Japan, and then they announced they were discontinuing it in Europe, and I thought we never really officially got the smaller one with the faceplates over here in the States. Did we ever end up...
We did.
We just
Yeah,
for a
we
little
got,
while or something?
I think we just... I don't know. I think we just got... I know it was available if you got the Animal Crossing Happy Home designer bundle.
Yeah.
They had it in there. I think they did have like super limited edition Pokemon ones where it came with like the Virtual Console Pokemon games.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know though. I don't think we ever got either
Is there a Yoshi
the
one?
white or the black. Like there is one that like we missed out on. Like we only had the white one or we only had the black one, or there's like a color we missed out on, I think. But beyond that though, I love it though because the buttons are like colored buttons, like they're like the Super Famicom buttons.
Yeah,
the faceplates were just always so fun and exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Like to switch them out and get new ones and just kind of customize your style. And I just think, I feel like I'd be maybe more incentivized to take it around if it was a tinier little 3D, or like a little tiny 3DS that I could take in my, like with my Switch and bust it out, and it was just tinier. Because when I pull out my 3DS XL right now, it's really pretty big, especially when it's like opened up all the way.
Yeah.
And it has this big glowing gold Majora's Mask on it. Like it's just not, as portable and all of that. And so I just wonder. I feel like I'd maybe play some of my backlog on the 3DS if I had this one. And I'm always so scared to take my 3DS XL out because it's the Majora's Mask one, and I'm worried I'm going to lose it or get it, broken, or just even wear it down too much, like the hinge or something. So
same here. That's always a big worry because it's like the best 3DS exclusive that they probably ever released or something. It's super rare and super valuable and super precious and beautiful. And I've heard actually some comments of people that have had the paint start peeling on theirs, which is really concerning. And I would assume that Nintendo, just with they usually have a really solid production quality and life cycle for their consoles without wearing too bad. Of course SNESs and NESs can yellow famously, but it's just, I don't know, that's always worrying to me. I don't want my Majora's Mask 3DS to get peeling the paint or anything like that. So I would really like to eventually do that, where I get the new Nintendo 2DS XL or something like that. Maybe if they put out a new line of them or another edition that is really cool, that I would eventually switch everything over to, because I do want to eventually retire that as just kind of a collector's item.
Yeah, and I think having the, like we've kind of been saying, just then having the other one is like the new, like, this is my, if I ever play a 3DS game again, like, and I honestly do kind of like the smaller screen also. Sometimes my friend had I think they were like a Pokemon like live streamer, and they had the smaller 3DS because they had a capture card in it, and I played on theirs. And not only was it nice because it was like just nice and compact, but because the screen was so small, the resolution seemed a little bit more crisp as well.
Oh yeah.
Which makes maybe it not seem so dated to go back to it, because it's like smaller screen but really crisp still, because it's made for that resolution, where the XL is usually stretching out the picture just a little bit, so you get some kind of fuzzy looking games.
Right.
And I'm also wondering what it would be like to play the tiny 3DS but with the new features, so the enhanced processing and the face tracking. Like, I bet it would be really awesome. So speaking of 3DS though, Fire Emblem Fates, which was an awesome 3DS game, was briefly listed in a complete edition for Switch, and then it was removed by Amazon, I believe Spain. And so it looks like Amazon Spain briefly listed a Fire Emblem Fates Complete Edition for the Switch on their website, but then quickly took it down. This could be a potential leak, considering this hasn't been announced so far.
Yeah,
in the listing, news. It advises it is expected to be released on the 17th of November in 2017, which is very soon if it is real. So we may have to wait to see how this unfolds for Nintendo to confirm like Fire Emblem Fates Complete Edition in the works. But my Nintendo news will keep you posted. We'll also keep you posted. But the news was marked as a rumor due to the box art apparently being fan art. And so I bet someone in Spain, Amazon Spain, saw the fan art online. They're like, oh, better put that on the page.
Yeah.
And then Nintendo probably emailed them and said, we're going to kill you. And they're like, oh, better take it off the page. So it's probably exactly how it went down.
I hear that this is since it's the Amazon Spain, is that what you said it was?
Yeah.
They are they've done this before, where they've put up fan art for games, and so it's not panned out to be correct. However, if you see it come from Amazon France, I heard, then it's probably legit, because they often are the ones that will actually accidentally put stuff up early.
How is that a consistent problem?
I have no idea.
Like, how can we expect, like, if you get it from Amazon France, though, they're just known over there.
Yeah, but that's what I did and learned in my investigative little research about this topic.
Okay.
I do not. I don't know. It just doesn't seem to. I'm kind of in the same boat. I'm kind of believing those who say this is most likely fake and not coming. I mean, we know for sure that there is a Fire Emblem game in development.
I'm just wondering where they got that date. Where's the date from? Like, November 17th is such a specific date. Like,
yeah,
why put that on there?
But I mean, it seems a typical almost Nintendo release date. But yeah, that's interesting. I can't see it, because I see that I would assume there's still a lot of their development, and they're going to want to make that splash onto the Switch in a powerful way, instead of just.
And you feel like they would have mentioned it with Heroes coming out, or what is it, Warriors coming out, and the new Fire Emblem coming out next year. They would have been like, oh, and to keep you busy,
Yeah, we
Here's
had a
Fate's
whole
Complete
Fire
Edition.
Emblem like direct and everything where they could have talked
Yeah.
about it. And yeah, it just seems kind of like Pokemon where I'm kind of not suspecting that they'll actually port like Sun and Moon or Ultra Moon and Ultra Sun
Yeah.
over, and that they want to just have that first impact be a brand new Pokemon experience. And I'm
Yep.
kind of in that boat where that's what they're going to do with Fire Emblem too, and it's going to be absolutely glorious and not just be a up-res, 3DS port over. So
Mm-hmm.
that's
Yeah,
my,
absolutely.
that's my guess. Yeah.
But here are some games that are confirmed and you can play this week for the week of July 13th, 2017. Neo Geo Fatal Fury hits the Nintendo Switch. Also on the Nintendo Switch is I and Me, De Mambo, Death Squared, which I hear is awesome, Levels Plus addictive puzzle game, and on the 3DS there's As Divine Cross, Cursed Castilla, Bit Dungeon Plus, and Box Up. And so that is all we have in the Nintendo pipeline. And with that, we can give it a satisfying flush and watch it all swish and swoosh into oblivion. And so to quickly end out the show, I want to just quickly touch on, we didn't get much of a chance, but we'll have to talk about it next week. Pikmin and Miitopia. So if you have a 3DS, be sure to go download those demos so you can test out the games themselves. But I want to give my quick impressions. Then Zach, you can go ahead and give yours.
Yeah.
What you have to say about the games.
Sweet.
I will say this though. I think they may have sold me on Hey Pikmin.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to double look at my budget, my fun money, and see if I can afford it. But if I can, I may honestly pick it up this week because, wow, that was the. I will say this. We'll see what the critics say. They somehow completely translated Pikmin into a 2D environment where it feels like Pikmin. It is the charming world of Pikmin. It feels like you're Olimar throwing Pikmin and gathering things. They perfectly translated it to that on-the-go style of, okay, collect 3 different things this level, and you have to make sure you manage your Pikmin well and manage your exploration well in order to get all 3 items in order to charge up your ship. The music's good. The visuals are good. Very bummed it's not in 3D, but it also makes sense because if the top screen was in 3D but the bottom one wasn't, it'd be kind of weird. And it's also another thing where I hope they don't abandon, like I hope 2D Pikmin now is a thing moving forward because they sold me on it so well that I'm like, I could just play Pikmin like this moving forward. Like, man, this is awesome. Like there's a place for 3D Pikmin, but 2D Pikmin now is like, whoa, like this is so cool. Like this is such a great idea, and they could do it on the Switch where you're using your Joy-Cons to point and click where you want to have your Pikmin thrown, or you could do it on the touchpad maybe. Like it'd be a little bit harder on that console maybe since it's so touch based, but I don't know. I love that, and Miitopia probably didn't completely sell me on it. Like on actually purchasing the game because it is a little bit, all right. Like I'm done with the 3DS, and unless it's something like Metroid or Pikmin, I don't know if Miitopia can pull me back in. But Miitopia was definitely fun. So if you don't have a Switch yet and you do have a 3DS, check out the demo. It's so fun to be playing in like. You can put in a Mii for the enemies. So like my Dark Lord in the game was Walter White from Breaking Bad, and it's so cool when Walter White sneaks down and steals Miyamoto's face, and you're going on a journey, and all of a sudden Michael Jackson joins you, and you can assign a class to him. And I made him a pop star class, so he had like a little fedora on, and he was just like pop star singing to people to kill him. And it's just like, that's so cool. I'm like playing this game with Michael Jackson, and I'm Kaz with a sword and shield, and it's just such a cool, like, immersive game in that way, where I really hope that the Miis continue on the Switch, even if it's not like with Miiverse or something. Hopefully like Miitopia and something like Tamagotchi Life maybe, or something continues on the Wii or on the Switch. Like we've already seen them in Mario Kart, so they're not completely dead, and they can be like your menu items. And so hopefully we get something like that. But the other thing I was thinking is, why is Miitopia not on Miitomo? Like I feel like they could so easily bring back Miitomo and resurrect Miitomo if they just added in like, oh, now in Miitomo you can do quests and you can go on adventures with your Mii, and you have to fight against the evil Dark Lord in this new update like Miitomo 3.0, and you can assign different sidekick Miis to your class and your party and just turn your phone into an adventure game. Like there's literally automatic battling in Miitopia, so it's not even like it's a completely hardcore RPG. Like it's pretty light when it comes to that. Like you can feed your party and all that. So I just don't know why it's not on your phone. I feel like they could have even boosted revenue with it, where they could be selling different armor sets and different gear sets and all sorts of things. And so that's what I'll have to say about Miitopia. I'm excited to see what the critics are saying and if it reviews well, because I thought the game did have a lot of polish to it. But
yeah,
if it was, I'll say this: if the game was on Switch, it'd be a 100% guarantee pickup for me this week. The only thing holding me back is that it's on the 3DS. I just don't get enough playtime out of that. So
Miitopia, I only played the casting call a bit. So there was 2 demos that you could pick up. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, and so
casting call where you can just make a video trailer and then the actual Miitopia demo.
Yeah, there's a few trailers that you could make in the casting call. Did you pick up the casting call one or just the demo?
I did. I made one trailer and I'm like, this is stupid, and then I played the actual game.
Yeah, well, I thought it was really cool, man. So shut up. But I was gonna ask you real quick before I get into my kind of impressions, though. For one, like, how involved is Miitopia? So you said there was automatic battling. So I didn't play the demo, but can you walk around? Is there any like control at all of anything, or is it kind of just like a story that progresses? And like, what is actually going on in the game?
So I guess like the turn, like I guess what you could call it, the day-to-day gameplay is. Or even just the whole plot of the game. So in Miitopia, the world of Miitopia or whatever, everyone's face has been stolen by the evil Dark Lord so-and-so. So evil Dark Lord Walter White.
Right.
And your job is to go through and fight all of his monsters and return the faces to the citizens you encounter. So like the first place you go to, I think, is called Greenhorn. And I had, I think Tyrion Lannister was like greeting me at the gate. And I know...
So it'll pop in people that you didn't even select as characters.
It's actually kind of cool. They have you can assign your cast to the village, or it'll automatically generate people based on Mii Central, which you may remember from Miitomo,
right,
where everyone's just user generating Miis. And so I know like Aziz Ansari popped up somewhere, even though I haven't made Aziz Ansari before.
Oh.
But you can completely customize your cast if you want to.
Yeah.
And either prioritize the ones on your system, or you can make them from scratch, or you can scan QR codes. But then it's kind of like what you'd expect out of a Super Mario World map, where you kind of go across the map and pick points by points. And when you pick a point to walk to, like you're leaving the village to go save the people, you pick the next point on the map, and your characters, like there's this little kind of almost cutscene, just pre-looping animation where your characters are walking across the map, and they'll encounter bosses and enemies, and the enemies will always have like a face of someone that's had their face stolen, and you fight them. And along the way, it's kind of actually the best way to describe it. It's kind of like Oregon Trail, where you're going along the path, and it's kind of like, you know, little Billy gets stuck in the river, little Billy's dead. Like it's very much the same way, where it's like Kasdan and Michael Jackson encountered an inn. Do you want to rest at the inn? And you can rest at the inn, level up your stats, bond with Michael Jackson, so then you can like level up your relationship. And so it's kind of like a, you know, choose your own adventure sort of thing.
Yeah,
and,
so it definitely could be. I was just kind of wondering, for the sake of how you were talking about merging it.
It could definitely be on the phone.
Yeah.
Like,
so
you could just be sitting there with your phone and have your little Miis walking around. It's like, do you want to stay at the inn? Do you want to fight? And then you can just, you know, I think even when you pick your moves, you can just basically be like, you know, attack or defend. Like, I think it's nothing too extreme.
Well, because it was making me think too, like, even not maybe merging it with Miitomo, but it seems maybe with the Miis they could actually make it a kind of franchise sort of thing, like where
I thought it was awesome.
Where they have multiple games, like a Miitomo, Miitopia, Mii Mario. I don't know.
If Miitomo is just the day-to-day life of your Miis, and Miitopia is the adventure of your Miis, they could do Mii Sports, almost shift it so from everything being Wii based, they could now do, Mii Sports, Mii Tomo, Miitopia, Mii Racing even. Like, that'd be very hard to compete with Mario Kart, and I don't think they'd want to, but
It could be the phone version or something, like do a mobile. I guess, but people would be upset you didn't just put Mario Kart on the mobile phone.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Mii Fighters.
yeah, but yeah,
but they have those in Smash, I guess. But yeah, I mean, Miitopia though is, like you're saying though, I do hope Miitopia becomes like a franchise. Like, I hope it carries over to either phones or to the Switch, because it's awesome, really fun, cute idea to be returning the face of everyone. And there's just something about it where, like, you had your little casting call trailer where it was me and I was in the trailer, and it's just something funny about seeing me in your trailer and me in your game and tripping and falling and screaming and shouting and glaring through the window. Like, there's just something about that where it adds just a whole new level to the game compared to, oh, my mage fell down and tripped. And
that's one of the things I liked about it the most, was that it really felt the energy of the characters that I'd made through the Miis. Like, I could feel my energy and your energy in the Mii representation, and it was really cool to have that represented in sort of a game that trailer that was getting me hyped for something that's to come. But I didn't get too much of a grasp of what the gameplay would be like from it. And I'm a little bit, I gotta say, like, just from your description of it, I think, like, I kind of wish that it was a little bit more hands-on than that. Like, it was a little less kind of hold your hand.
It was a demo too, though.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
We'll see. Maybe, like, because it's even, like, I know in Fire Emblem Heroes on the phone, you can click auto battle.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, like, if you get to level 40 in Fire Emblem Heroes and click auto battle, you'll die. Like,
yeah. So was there an option to not do auto battles?
Oh yeah, you can customize your fight.
Oh, okay.
Which I imagine when
I
you
thought
get
it was all automatic, and I'm like,
oh no. My bad. No, you can click the auto battle button, but if you stumble across, like, a slime, for example, I came across a slime that had Miyamoto's face on it. You can choose to be like, okay, Kaz attack, Michael Jackson heal, Walter White defend, and you can have everyone kind of do their skills. And I bet maybe when you get to bigger boss battles, auto battle may not be the best for you, or it may start to kind of get into a thing where it prioritizes your strongest character and your lower level characters don't level up. Like, I bet it's one of those things that I bet if you want to get, like, the most out of it, and maybe the completionist side of you, like, if you want to unlock all of the gear and stuff, you probably have to start, doing your own battles. And so,
all right, that gives me a little bit different impression then.
Try out the real demo, and
I will have to do that. Because I didn't even realize until maybe last night or something that there was actually two different demos. I thought it was just the casting call to go in there and kind of assign your characters and find out a little bit more about what it is. But I thought it was hyping me up, because I thought it was really cool to see to actually play a game that seemed actually legit, humorous, and captivating, that used family members and people and are familiar with it, and kind of capture that energy. And especially if you, like you were mentioning a couple things, like if you cast them correctly, there's really some cool synchronistic sort of things that make sense and are really clever and fun for that.
Yeah, well, like, I had Cersei Lannister as Miyamoto's mom. So, like, when I finally saved Miyamoto and his, like, little face disappeared from the slime and went up, like, Cersei ran up and hugged him and was like, my boy, my precious boy. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's Cersei hugging Miyamoto. And, like, the carefree guide at the village was Tyrion. So you walk up and he's like, welcome to the village. And I can just picture it in his voice. And, like, the cool thing is like, you can only have 100 Miis on your 3DS. And so I'm going to run out of characters. But then you have the Mii Central, where just hundreds and thousands of people have made Miis and uploaded them. I think that's probably even importing them from Mii Tomo, like what people have made there. And so you just have, like, an unlimited database of people's Miis, where it ranges from Aziz Ansari. And the other nice thing they do is, like, how a lot of people save their Miis and, like, people will title, Aziz Ansari, where it's, like, all one word or something, and it kind of looks a little ugly. You can change their names. So, like, I made,
that's cool.
I think someone had, like, Walt White as the name, and I just changed it to Walt, and so it's Dark Lord Walt, and you can change all of that. So, no, awesome game. Actually, now that I've talked about it, I may go check out a little bit more of the demo, because the demo, I don't know how long it goes. It may be one of those things where you can play as long as you want for like 30 tries or something. I'm not too sure. But looking even at our thumbnail here, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see like all around, like there's the Dark Lord, but then there's also like so many different types of enemies. So I can imagine it gets pretty cute and crazy.
And then with Pikmin, real quickly, my comments about that is I basically completely agree with what you said, that I was a little bit like, I don't know if even a little bit or very much so on the fence about it. But
yeah,
I mean,
it was off my radar completely.
I haven't, yeah, well, especially not only because, I mean, I did have some interest in it, but also a big factor is just the fact that the 3DS, and we've talked about it so many times, like we're just trying to kind of put it aside, although now I have had a huge resurgence with it again, where I'm kind of getting over maybe that rejection or whatever it is, I'm kind of
the ugly child now.
coming more
second son
to accept the reality that it's sticking around for a little bit longer, and that I should just enjoy it. And I still have a huge backlog to go there and enjoy, but it was a little bit off my radar because of that, I'll admit. But I don't know, I think it has a lot of the same humor and charm and beauty of the Pikmin games, and brought to that small 2D scale. It's just it's really perfect. I played through all of those first 3 little areas that you can go through, and just was really impressed by it. And I don't know, I don't have much to say beyond that, but I will probably pick it up. I thought I will most likely wait to hear some review impressions first before I actually maybe make like pre-order it or anything like that.
I think I'm gonna do Best Buy, so I can go pick it up on Friday. And
well, doesn't it come out the 28th? I thought that
no, it's this Friday, the 21st.
Oh, really? Okay.
I'm pretty sure. Let me double check before we end out the show. Hey Pikmin, because if it's next week, that hey Pikmin for 3DS, Nintendo.com. Wait, what? It is July 28th. Never mind, I guess. Man, that changes the whole thing. The whole time I've been talking about this game coming out this Friday.
Well,
that's nice, because then I can just
focus next week. It's
oh, what? I was even talking like at the start of the show, like that next week we'll talk about what the critics are saying and about all these games, and maybe reviews will be up for them next week. Maybe I heard something like that or something, that the reviews will be up this week. I'm not too sure. Dang it, that sucks. I was so excited for those games. I was going to be playing Splatoon and Hey Pikmin all weekend, but well.
Yeah, a little
at least
bit
that
more,
gives me time with
a little bit
Splatoon
more time to. Yeah, it's definitely got to get some all of our Splatoon 2 time in and talk about that next podcast. But yeah, it gives me a little more time to think about if I do want to make that jump and pick up Hey Pikmin. I do think it went a long way, like I said, into convincing me to pick it up. I was really more impressed with it than I was maybe expecting to be, but I also was kind of thinking about the fact that I think that for some reason it's just like who are the developers, but they'd made the Yoshi's New Island or whatever, and they just had that, for some reason people just giving them flack, or like they have just a bad reputation because of that one game. But going in, I was trying to think about, this is a Nintendo published game, I'm sure they put a lot of polish into it and do the testing, and I wonder if they know about the reception and kind of mixed reception of those games, and maybe tried to push it a little bit harder and make take any of that into consideration. It did seem like there was a little bit more going on, but I've never actually gone through and completed all of Yoshi's New Island, which
makes me want to go. I don't think I own it. Makes me want to grab it. If
I do want to, I'm interested. I'm kind of I'm intrigued by what it actually ends up being. What is the full experience of Yoshi's New Island like? I kind of want to go experience that just to, be able to make my own judgment about it. But it did make me think about that. But yeah, those are my comments.
Well, that's everything we have for Koppai Podcast episode 63. We got to go because winter is here, and so we have to prepare for that. But be sure to tune in next week. Apparently, we're only going to be talking about Splatoon, because I thought we were going to be talking about Pikmin and Miitopia, but whatever. At least we got some initial impressions in this week. Next week, we'll talk about Splatoon, and if any of the reviews are up for Pikmin and Miitopia, we'll be sure to talk about them, and maybe we'll use next week as a full chance to dive into the Game of the Year watch and see what's on people's radar for Game of the Year. But I think that's everything we have. Be sure to go download the Miitopia demo. Make sure you download the Miitopia demo and not Curtain Call. I mean, do Curtain Call or Curtain Cast or whatever it is.
Casting Call, I think.
Casting Call. You can go ahead and download that, but the Miitopia demo, there's 2 different ones. The Casting Call and Miitopia. Be sure to actually download the full game one, and then also download the demo for Hey Pikmin. And be sure to tune in next week for our initial review impressions of Splatoon 2. We'll have our full hands on the game, and for a couple days actually. So we'll be pretty well into the thick of it. So yeah.
Well, you know what? One last thing. I was just kind of thinking about how it does show a lot of confidence in these games. I think that Nintendo's putting out these demos like of Hey Pikmin, and I think that goes a long way too in kind of the perception of if they're willing to put the demo out on the system weeks in advance, it really shows some drive to go and get people interested and not be afraid that they're going to be like, wow, this is crap, right away from trying out the demo. It shows confidence.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's pretty cool. But yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
That's all, folks.
Yeah.
Until next time. Cool.